Zamunda.
Okay, you guys are awesome.
Thank y'all.
I've never seen a backflip off a post.
That was incredible.
I knew he was holding out on us.
All right, Steelers line.
As much as we'd like to do sticks, Eric Goff and the Lions hosting Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers. That's my favorite way the show's ever started. 11 seconds to go in the first half. Rodgers airing it out to Kenneth Gainwell. Gainwell somehow makes the catch ball on the ground.
This play is absolutely bonkers. If you're Alex Anzalone, you got to be like, this cannot be happening in front of my family. What a great catch. He gets up off the ground, the wherewithal to score a touchdown. That's the right play late in the half.
Yeah, like, okay, yeah, sure. Steelers tie it up at 10 at the half. Just over 4 to play in the fourth quarter. Lions down 29-17. Goff finding Jahmyr Gibbs for the 4-yard touchdown. The Lions now trail 29-24. They're making the comeback here following a missed Steelers field goal. Goff trying to find Jameson Williams. It appears to be incomplete, but defensive pass interference is called on Kyle Duggar. Contact for the catch.
Yeah, you definitely, and you can't turn Jamo Williams there. That's a good call by the official.
First down for the Lions. This will not be the last time we hear from the referees, by the way, in this game. Later in the drive, under 30 seconds to go. First and goal for the 1. Goff completes the pass to Amon-Ra St. Brown for the touchdown.
Looks like a good call to me.
Hold on, though. Not so fast.
That voice.
Looks like a good call to me.
Runs right.
Can't do that. Can't do it.
No touchdown for Detroit. Backs them up. Now 8 seconds to play. Fourth and goal from the 9. And just a crazy play here. Goff hits St. Brown while he's being tackled. He laterals it to Goff, who runs it in for a touchdown. Flags all over the field. Lions again called for offensive pass interference. And St. Brown pushes Jalen Ramsey. The pass from Goff. The referees throw the flag before the lateral into the end zone. By rule, there's no replay. The game is over. So the Steelers hold on to win in wild fashion. Here's Dan Campbell on that specific scenario.
You think you score, you don't score, and then you think you're going to have another play. Replay it or back it up and one more shot, and it doesn't. And that's just, I guess that's the way it's written in the rule book. So that's frustrating, but there again, it should never come to that. We had our opportunities. We weren't able to put it in before that play.
The intervention I saw from those refs late in that game, I've never seen 2 offensive PIs to lose a game like that.
All right, we now welcome in for the first time on NFL Live, our NFL officiating analyst, Russell Yerk. We're so excited to have you on the show, Russell. Let's start with a lot of conversation about the calls at the end of this game. I know, but he's going to give us some facts here. What did you see there at the end of this game?
Well, the first offensive pass interference that was called, very good call, just like I heard you guys talk about. He seeks out the defender, the wideout comes in, isn't running a route. He lowers his shoulder. He initiates a block more than 1 yard downfield. They started at the 1. The block happened about 1 yard in the end zone, so it's 2 yards down. Very good call for offensive pass interference.
Okay, when it comes to the last play, it took a while for them to make this call. Just take us inside those conversations.
Yeah, that was an interesting one. First of all, I think it's a pretty clear offensive pass interference because he goes down and initiates contact, shoves him away, and then goes into his route. Definitely gains an advantage there. So good call for offensive pass interference. But I was a little surprised that they didn't call forward progress on that last play, because here you see the block. He goes off into his route, clear offensive pass interference, but then he's controlled and driven back about 5 yards. Now, I can understand why they want to let Amon-Ra Brown break loose and make a play, potentially score a touchdown. So they might get a little delayed on forming forward progress there. But to me, it was definitely forward progress. I would have liked to see it shut down. Once they don't rule it forward progress, though, then you have the backward pass that Goff catches in the air, and he runs in for a touchdown. Now, afterwards, they were talking for quite a while. What are they talking about? Well, first of all, they're talking about, do they have forward progress, or are they allowing the play to continue and allow that backward pass? Second, when they have the backward pass thrown, they're talking about, was the receiver down by contact before he threw it? And then was it a backward pass or a fumble? Now, whether he's down by contact, whether it's a backward pass or a fumble, whether there's time remaining when Goff scores, those are all reviewable aspects that the replay official is looking at up in the booth while they're going through all the scenarios down on the field. So there is a lot to talk about there.
Russ, quick question, because this was kind of like a tipping point. I'm going not to this lateral back to Jared Goff, the first one that was called back for pass interference. How do you determine the push by the defensive back? How that decided if that initially created the run for the route for Tesla to bump into the secondary DB?
Right. No, that's a really good question, because the initial defender does get a hand on him, no doubt about that, but he doesn't push him or force him into the block that he ends up making. So that's what they're looking for. Does he push him? Is that the impetus that initiates that block? It wasn't. He has his hand on him. They're feeling each other out. That's an intentional block, and so I like the call.
Okay. All right.
For joining us here, of course, you can catch more from Russell.
Well, I just listen, man. Listen, I don't want to fight with Russ. Russ is my guy.
Yeah.
We've flown together before on Aikman Enterprises.
Well,
But what I will say is
anybody he flies with is his new best friend.
But what I will say is I was very interested to see how you determine that contact, like how much force was created in order for him to bump into the DB. That was something that I had on my mind.
Okay, interesting stuff either way. Thanks to Russell York for joining us here.
Russ.
We'll see you on the broadcast tonight with Joe and Troy. Let's talk a little bit more about the Lions. With that loss, the Lions now have a 7% chance to make the playoffs, according to ESPN Analytics. Detroit's only way to make the playoffs is to win its last 2 games at the Vikings and at the Bears, and have Green Bay lose its last 2 games against the Ravens and at the Vikings. The Vikings playing a pretty key role there either way. Peter, it wasn't just those 2 penalties, though, at the end that proved costly for Detroit. What went wrong for the Lions throughout this game?
It's kind of symbolic of their season as a whole. Remember, last year, all the 4th down conversions, they get them. We celebrate this team for their 4th down prowess. Well, they had a 4th and 3 early. They're going to go for it. It's what they do. Turnover on downs. That was the case against Kansas City when they were 0 for 5 on 4th down. It's been all season. They're the 21st ranked team on 4th down conversions. And then we talk about their line all the time and how great they are up front and their defensive line, the offensive line. I watched Aaron Rodgers lead a team on a 17-play drive that took up 6-7 yards in the entire 3rd quarter. So this was what the Lions were all season. They lose at home. Another time they lose at home this season. And Rodgers in that run game had their way with them. This is the team we're supposed to look at. Gibbs and Montgomery, 15 yards rushing in a game that was a must-win for the Detroit Lions, their least since 1970. So, yes, we can spill all this ink and be so upset about the calls at the end. The truth of the matter was Pittsburgh Steelers absolutely dominated both lines of scrimmage the entire game.
Yeah, I think offensively, it's kind of sadly appropriate that a lot of the struggles are similar to what we saw back in Week 1 against Green Bay, and we shared the concerns about the offensive line then, and those concerns continued to pop up throughout the season, very much so, as Peter alluded to, in this game. Both in the drop-back game, where especially in the first half, felt like Jared Goff would turn his back to run under center play action, and how many times were Steelers passing